Infrastructure development is today the Philippines' greatest challenge. The rollout of this administration's PPP program shows a clear interest in the private sector having a major role in solving infrastructure bottlenecks, specifically foreign companies. Our next moderator is a JP Morgan private banker specialized in ultra-high financial advisory and global investment strategies. He also chairs JP Morgan's Aspire Business Resource Group, a not-for-profit organization whose mission is to drive professional development, raise cultural awareness, and provide mentorship opportunities. Please welcome Anton Agoncilla.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm privileged to be joined by Jeffrey Hardee, Executive Director of Asia Pacific for Caterpillar, Mr. Craig Steffensen, Representative of Asian Development Bank, Dr. Vaughn Montes, Director of the Development Bank of the Philippines, and Vic Noel, Board Member of Makati Business Club.
These positive improvements notwithstanding, fixed investment and FDI inflows are still small compared to what we're seeing going on in some other countries in the region. That's not to say, however, that we don't believe that the Philippines is positioned well nowadays to benefit from increased flows. Infrastructure gaps, I have to say, continue to be sort of a constraint to what's going on. It's not true just in the Philippines, but everywhere across the Asian Pacific. It's not for lack of financing or political will or anything else. It's really just a lack of bankable projects.
We're an integrated company, long involved in the Philippines, and we're really pleased to see the developments that are taking place in the Philippines. We do business through a dealer, an independently owned dealer, Monarch, in the Philippines. We have a long relationship with this company. But the Philippines is in great need of more infrastructure investment, and we think that the PPP Center and the focus it's bringing is going to be very important.
The Philippines PPP program is now a stellar example, is the model, is the best practice right now in the way the PPP program is run. The current PPP program, the government is able to emphasize shifting market and commercial risk to the private sector, partly because we are now investment grade, and partly because the private sector is now willing to take completion risk and commercial risk. But I think it also bears commending that this government has been very clear about what type of risk allocation should be pursued under PPP.
The fact that the current PPP model has gained international recognition and it has developed over the many years with adopting those best practices. It's determined to be ready internationally, competitive as well, very robust, very responsive. Then it's only logical and prudent for the next administration to carry on and build on what has been started by the current administration. And I think the PPP proposed legislation that will institutionalize all the reforms, all the initiatives, all the best practices. If that is passed into law, that will really sort of provide the stability as far as the modality is concerned.
I would agree. I think the continuity of the PPP is very important. So we're hopeful that the legislation will be adopted, and we'll see that continuity. I think PPPs are not easy, and getting the risk right is not easy. There are also challenges in coordination among departments, interagency communication and coordination. And it's not just the Philippines. This is really a problem in every country where you have PPPs. And so there has to be this focus that you just got to be good coordination. And so I think that the PPP Center has come a long way. There are obviously some learnings to go forward, but the main thing is the continuity, and that is absolutely critical. In terms of where the investment needs to be made, well, I think energy, there's a huge energy deficit in the Philippines. We need much more energy. Transportation, be it roads, marine, or air, all those need to be more invested. And also in water supply and the drainage of water and and availability of water, we need to get that down as well. So we have transportation, energy, and then water, I'd say, are the three priority areas right now. Mining, there's tremendous opportunities in the Philippines for mining. I think that globally, in terms of mineral reserves, the Philippines is 5th in the world in terms of mineral reserves, not being exploited at all really right now to the extent that it could be.
our program has moved from about $300 million a year 5 years ago to about $900 million a year. We're pulling in quite a bit of co-financing on top of this. I think AIB will be a new source of financing. But I have to say that in the end, I wouldn't be surprised to see a smaller ADB program complemented by much greater private sector involvement in terms of what we're doing. We are trying to work ourselves out of business. I mean, that's the end goal. So we'll continue what we're doing, but I don't expect us to be there forever.
I think a geographic dimension to coordination, because you can think of an integrated area development approach that will emphasize the synergies between the different development projects that you are putting in. The only way, for example, you can finance a market, or we can finance a port, or finance a bridge. Each of them will not make sense because they're not viable. But if you come up with an integrated concept that because the bridge will lead to a market, and the port will create its own market, then the whole integrated area plan will work. So to some extent, maybe the government can think of geographic coordination. It will also help spread the congestion out of Manila.